Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Today is April 29th, 2024, and this is the next update to the Pear series. So this is probably going to be one of the most important update because I'm going to show you some of the issues that pears can suffer. And despite my effort to spray the trees, I did miss a few months, and then because of that, the trees got infected. We had a little bit blight, but I cut most of it off. And then we also have rust. Man, rust is probably one of the worst things because it doesn't kill the tree, but it just makes the tree looks really unpleasant, and the fruits also. And so I'm going to show you that as well. And all that could be prevented if you have a spraying schedule for the pears. So rust, you can have a fungicide spray. You can buy them at Home Depot, or you can buy them online. But on the label, it should tell you what it treats, and that is exactly what you need. And so there's certain varieties of pears that are resistant to these. And so if you live in the South, like I do, where it's humid, and then it's wet sometimes, and then those are the months that when the diseases will be most prominent. And also because I live in an area where there's a lot of cedar trees and junipers, and those are the types of trees that the fungal disease needs to complete the cycle. And so if you live in a place where you have a lot of junipers or cedars, you're going to get exposed even if you spray often. And so that is the problem that I have. So anyway, let me go and show you what it looks like, and then you check your trees to see if you have some. So the rust usually look like this. You see how after you spray, I think these are it's dead. These are dead rust. But there's some that if you flip them over, they have these little spores sticking out of it. So I have some, so I will show you. You see, the pears look infected like that. See, a normal pear looks like this. See, nice and clean, round, and no circular rings at the very tip. And so the infected pears look like this. You see that little ugly looking circular dark pattern? That's what it looks like. Also, it creates these bumps right here. See? So my Korean giant, look at that. See? So on top of that rust, if you don't pick up the pears, the rust will eventually grow. You see that's the little colorful little thing right there? It'll grow, and it's just gonna look really, really bad. It has these sort of like spores coming out of it, and it gets more and more and more. And so usually what I'll do is I'll if it's too late like this here, I'll just pick off the fruit and throw them all away, because they're very unpleasant anyway, and it looks really ugly. And so let me show you some of the fruits that have it even worse. Okay, so here is an example of one of the fruit that got really infected. See that? See that rust on the tip of the fruit? So let me pick it off and show you. See? And that is what's gonna happen. And it's just unpleasant, and you leave it on here, it could overwinter the next year, and then it's gonna infect your pear all over again. So usually what I'll do is I'll pick as much off as I can find and trash them. Don't even throw them in the garden, just throw them in the trash. Make sure they're away. And then at the end of the season, the leaves that are infected, which is probably going to be the entire tree, don't don't let the leaves fall. Pick them off as much as you can and trash all of the leaves. If you can, shred it all up and let it decompose, and if that's the safest way. But if you can't, see, the leaves, they don't decompose very quickly if you don't shred them. So you see, that's from last season. Those are the leaves. And so just pick those off, trash them all, and just don't use them as compost, or don't put them in your compost pile, because the diseases could overwinter, and then it's gonna affect the pears all over again the next season. So just that's what I'm gonna do this season. I'm gonna just take all the leaves that I can and put them in the trash. Okay, so as far as the leaves getting infected, let me show you. See, these are the rust right there. You see that? This one has a little spores, the little foot right there that comes out of it. So here, you see, there's those little legs that comes out of a little spot, and they will get bigger and bigger, and it's really gonna look really nasty, and the trees are just gonna look yellow and burnt. And yeah, my trees, let's see, all of them, the leaves are like that. See this yellow rust looking thing? And if you flip them over, that's what it's gonna look like. And then the little spores will come out of those rust, and then they'll just mature and fly off, and possibly could infect your other trees around. So usually what I would do is I'll go around and I'll collect all of these leaves here and just trash them. That way they don't fall to the ground at the end of the season. And also the fruits, see, you're gonna find many of them. See, that's infected fruit right there. And this is because I missed my spray regimen in the beginning, so I missed it for a few months. And usually, you know, when it's wet, and then it dries up, and it gets wet again, and it dries up, and then that's when the fungus is, you know, most active. And so we just got rain yesterday. See, the ground is still pretty wet. And then all of a sudden I came out today and I found more and more of the fruits getting this infection right here. It was already on there, but it started to be more active. And so you're gonna find a lot of them all over these trees. And so if you can, you know, the ones that you can reach, see, these are the rust right there. Try to get rid of those as much as you can. And for the ones that are way up top, you're probably not going to be able to get it. But when the fruits fall at the end of the season, collect them all and just trash them. And so my Shinko tree, it's not too bad because it's pretty resistant to blight and stuff like that. But then I grafted onto the tree many other varieties, and so that caused you know, the trees to have problems. Not on the Shinko, but on the other varieties that are grafted onto it. So it has blight. See at the top right there, there's a burnt looking leaves. There's one branch right there. It looks like it's been torched. And so that is fire blight right there. And so normally what I would do is I'll cut the entire branch, you know, down to the bottom of it, and to get rid of it. And then I spray to make sure that the tree is not infected again. But a blight, it would not kill a mature tree, but for a young tree, it possibly could kill it. So it's a pretty big problem. Okay, so now that you saw what the diseases that your pears could potentially have, in some places it's not going to be much of a problem, like towards the north, because it's much colder there. So you may not get a lot of fire blight. You may not get a bunch of those, you know, rust or cedar rust and all that stuff. And so in the south, where it's really humid, a lot of rain and stuff like that, where the temperature is warmer, you're going to have a lot of cedars that are going to affect it. So you have to be on a schedule. And so you need to apply dormant oil at the end of the season to treat some of the disease that may carry it over. You need to pick off all the leaves that fell from the infected trees, and if you're not sure, pick them all up and try your best to get rid of all of the leaves that you can that were infected. So this season, all of the leaves that I can find that will fall off, I'm going to get rid of those and trash them. Again, you can compost them, but you have to shred them down and allow the good bacteria to kill it and then turn it into compost. But if the leaves are just going to fall, those are not going to be good enough because the leaves will stay as a leaf. It would not decompose down, and then the diseases will still be on the leaves, and so it's going to cause you problems again. And so put your trees on a schedule. So you got to have, you know, the dormant spray when the trees are dormant, and then spray it before the blooms open. And the blooms opens in the spring, and that's usually the time that is most dangerous for the trees, because the bees can carry the diseases, you know, from the other trees that are infected and bring it to your trees. And so sometimes you can try as much as you like, but then the problem is still going to be there. So like for mine this year, I did try my best to spray, but then I missed a few months, and then that caused some of these problems that I'm having right now. So I'm losing a lot of fruit. I still have a bunch more, but you know, it's very unfortunate because these are really beautiful fruits, and see, and it just looks so disgusting. And so, you know, that would have been a perfect fruit, and then now I just have to trash this one and just throw them all off. Same with this one here, you see. So I try to pick them all off. Just don't worry. I mean, it's better to get rid of those ugly fruits anyway, because they could be calloused up on the inside. It's going to be very unpleasant, and it's just a waste of your tree's energy because it's already infected. So remember, it's important to stay on a schedule. So let's go around and I'll show you what the trees look like now. And so far it's not too bad. The fruit, I still have lots and lots of fruits, except still have a lot of infected fruits. And it seems like the Korean giant is really suffering the problem this year. The Hosui, it does have the rust on the leaves, but somehow the fruits are fine. So this is the Shinko with multiple grafted branches onto there. All the trees looks pretty good. And this is the multi-grafted tree. And the Korean giant branch is the one that get affected the most. And it's very strange because usually the Korean giants, you know, they're always healthy and no issues. But this year, it's the worst one. And this is the 20th century right here. It also get affected as well. But the fruit seems to be much better than the Korean giant. And you see these rust right here? Those spores are going to come out. And it's gonna have like these little leg, and it's really strange. And here's my Hosui. You see the fruits are fine, but the rust here is a big problem. You see that? See the little spores that's starting to protrude out of those little rust dots? Those are bad. And then this is the Korean giant. See, it looks pretty healthy, but lots of rust issues. The fruits are all contorted and affected. You see that? I pulled a lot of them off. So there are like hundreds of fruits that are affected. See? It's all of these here. And so you see that there's a tiny little colorful rust starting to form. So they will spread more throughout the fruit, and it's going to look really disgusting. And other than the pears problems, the persimmons are doing amazing. Lots and lots of fruits. The bees are constantly visiting. You see? There they are right there. And they're just pollinating, and fruits everywhere. Hundreds and hundreds of them. And of course, a lot of these are going to drop. And so many people suggest that I pull off some of the excess fruits. I don't usually do that. I just let the trees do it on their own. If they can't carry it, they'll drop it. And if they don't drop it, then it'll be with me toward the end of the season. And yes, the fruits may be not as big as they should be, but they're all pretty good size over the years. And so I don't really care to pull them off. On pears I do, but persimmons I don't. And here's my last persimmon tree. And it has lots of fruit also. And so I'll just let them drop on their own, and then whatever it can carry, it'll carry. So yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you keep an eye out on those diseases for your pears: cedar rust, pear rust, quince rust, or whatever. And scabs, those are really major problems for Asian pears, so watch out for those. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.